Hello and welcome to another episode of Internet Marketing Revealed. Today, my guest is Gareth Knipe. He's an online marketer from South Africa, and like most online marketers, he's tried several different things online, and he's also experienced periods of time where he's not been getting any results. Now, 2021 has been something of a breakthrough year for Gareth. He did spend the first 6 months of the year getting no results, but over the past 5 months, he's had some success with high ticket affiliate marketing and he's made several $1,000s organically. In fact, he's made over $7,500 in the past 5 months alone. And he's made all of these sales organically from free social media traffic. So in today's episode, we're going to have a chat about his experiences so far and also look into how he creates his content and generates his leads, because that's a particular area that he's strong at the moment. So I'm really looking forward to this episode and getting to know what Gareth is doing in a lot more detail. So first of all, welcome to the show, Gareth.
David, thank you very much for having me, and I'm really honored and appreciate you extending a invitation to me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's my pleasure. I mean, I've been watching what you've been doing over the past few months with great interest. So I'm quite keen to find out a bit more about what you've been doing and how you get in all these results. So I'm sure this is going to be a really interesting episode, and it's going to help a lot of people who are perhaps thinking of going down that organic social media marketing route themselves, or if they're already involved and not quite getting the results that they think their efforts deserve. So I'm sure you're going to share a lot of good information today. Before we get into all of that, though, can you just give us a bit of information about your backstory, where you grew up, and how you got to this point?
Well, mine is quite a long story. Grew up in South Africa. I went to university straight after school, and I studied for a BCom degree. I did 2 years of that, and I wasn't really, I don't know if you can say, feeling it. So I actually dropped out in my second year. I had a full bursary, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay, I hadn't found myself, kind of a thing. So I dropped out in my second year. Um, at the same time, I had all the credits for those 2 years. And from there, I went and I actually started a radio station. And from that, so there's a lot of stuff that I've done. Okay, I started a radio station, a community radio station. Then I went to work for a company called Dial a Bed, a concept which came from the United States. It was a new company that started in South Africa. I worked with them for about 3 years selling beds. I then went into retail. So I worked for one of the biggest retailers here in South Africa called Pick and Pay. I was with them for 13 years. I went into a training manager program and basically got ready to become a store manager. Worked my way up into a store manager position. I took, I think it was 3 years to go through the training program. I then became an assistant store manager. I was an assistant store manager for 5 years. And then I became a store manager. When I became a store manager, I continued with my degree through a online university in South Africa, and I managed to complete my degree. So that was basically 11 years after I started my degree, I finished. So I think for me, it was also a very important lesson in that it showed that when you start something, doesn't matter how long it takes, just finish it.
Yeah, that's some good advice there. I mean, with regards to the degree there, no worries at all that it took you 11 years. We've got full-time students here in the UK who are going down the professional student route, who are beginning and ending one degree, then going straight into another, and they'll just continue that for as long as they possibly can. So 11 years, you probably got off fairly lightly there. But
Well,
yeah, you're absolutely right there in what you say that, it doesn't really matter how long it takes to get something finished once you start it.
So that it's comforting hearing that mine wasn't that as bad as I thought it was. Um, from there, I then I was a store manager for 5 years, and then I decided to go and pursue a career in accounting, because that's actually what I studied. The degree that I got as a accounting degree, and I went and I did articles in an accounting firm. So I left a very high-paying executive position, and I went to go and do articles. From there, I managed to find a very nice job in a company that's a food manufacturer, less stressful, less corporate, and more kind of family orientated. In doing that, along this journey, I also got married, and my wife and I tried to have kids for 7 years with no luck. Then we were blessed with 2 kids, and my wife recently, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, she got a job in a restaurant, managing a restaurant, and then at the start of COVID, that she lost that job. So this was the point where I started looking into online. How can I generate another source of income? Because my wife was now without a job, and she was at home with the kids. The kids were out of school because the pandemic had just started. They had all the lockdowns and the restrictions and stuff like that. So with the restaurant industry being an extended kind of lockdown situation, there was very little chance of um, reviving that second income. So I had to look at other ways. And funny enough, along my journey through all my career, I've always had a side hustle. So filling in surveys, doing mystery shopping, all these kind of things. So I was well aware that there are ways on the internet to make money. Okay. And I decided to further look at, I needed a bit more than just the little that I was getting. And it wasn't like a pittance little, but it wasn't enough to compensate for a second income. So I needed something more. That's when I came across that's when I came across affiliate marketing.
Yeah, that's totally fair enough. I know you see a lot of these offers being advertised online, get paid to mystery shop or get paid to complete surveys. And while they're okay to make a bit of extra pocket money, you can't really rely on them as a consistent income stream. I mean, just going back there to what you said about the pandemic, I mean, how is that at the moment in South Africa? Because I remember seeing photos or videos online of these insane queues at the supermarkets. Is that still the same now, or has that all calmed down a bit?
David, fortunately, it's all calmed down. Okay. Initially, I think like everywhere in the world, nobody knew what to expect. And out of fear and pandemonium, people were doing crazy things like shopping for the next 6 months or whatever the case may be. But as things unfolded, the situation started normalizing, and it literally became the new normal kind of a thing. So it's pretty much back to what it used to be previously. It's just now there's a few more restrictions in place in terms of social distancing, wearing a mask, that kind of a thing. And 2 years down the line, there's very little difference in terms of what we know now to what we knew 2 years ago. Okay. But we've learned to accept it, and we've learned to move on, because people are no longer living in fear. They are rather living because you don't know whether it's going to be COVID or whether it's going to be any other affliction. We all have a limited amount of time on this planet. So we can't live in fear of living. You just have to get on with it.
Yeah, I totally agree there. That's some really good words of wisdom shared there, and I think you're totally right. And I am glad to hear that things aren't as chaotic as they seem to be when you're getting those select images and videos coming through. You know, news media is always the same. You're only ever going to get the most sensationalized version of events.
The media always helps it as well.
Yeah, they certainly do. Yeah, so you're looking for something a bit more consistent and a bit more stable in terms of an online income to replace the second income, which had recently been lost. So after you'd gone down the mystery shopping and the survey route, what was the next thing that you looked at after that?
I came across affiliate marketing, and just recently I actually was going through my emails, and I found where it all started. On the 9th of November 2020, I bought a program, very popular program, and it was kind of a low ticket, low entry, but it was one of these value ladder programs where I paid $7 to get in. Well, actually, I didn't pay $7. I just found I paid $7 again for the program, I think in March. But the first purchase was, it was a $7 program, and they did a 71% discount. So I actually paid $1.99 to get into the program,
Bargain.
and it was one of those 15-day business builder challenges. Okay. Obviously, when you go through the challenge, then you have to buy blueprints. And being new to the industry and going down the rabbit hole, I was like, geez, I didn't expect this. So I then went on to look for other programs. And that's basically how it started.
Okay, so in that first program that you were involved with, what sort of things were they teaching you? And do you think you got your $199 worth out of
Look,
that?
to be honest, because of my newness to the industry, there was a lot of stuff they were teaching in terms of traffic, generating traffic, the different mediums that you can use, creating videos. There was a lot of tech involved, and the type of person I am, I'm very comfortable with tech, but it takes a bit of time. So like it's not something that just comes naturally. I will sit and I will try and figure it out. This was just taking too much time. I didn't know at the time that that's how it works. I was looking for a quick result. Okay. And the only way to get the quick result was to buy the blueprints, which, because my wife had lost her income, I didn't have the resources to invest in the program. So then I was looking, like everybody else, I was looking for the free, or
The
the
magic
the the
bullet.
pro the proverbial blue pill, if you want to call it that. You know, it is what it is. Looking for the free PDFs, the YouTube videos. How do I do this? And not knowing that all that free stuff is just an invitation. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just some like entry level content just to introduce you to different aspects of online marketing.
Yeah.
And as you found with the first program, you pay $1.99 to get in, or you pay $7 to get in, but it's not going to be long before you get hit with the upsell where you're then offered further products, further training, which are going to make things easier for you. And if you're going through several different versions of these products, if you're looking on YouTube or wherever else, then things are going to start getting very confusing very quickly because you haven't really got a clear path to follow. You're just in that position where you're trying to piece together all of these different parts of the puzzle, and some of those pieces are missing, some of those other pieces don't fit, and you just end up in a huge state of confusion.
Then I found a program which was very interesting to me. Okay, because I got in, it was free, and this to me like was really awesome. The training was good. There's nothing wrong with the training. Okay, But the way that it was delivered, I later figured out. At the time, I honestly thought this was the best thing since probably sliced bread, if you want to call it that. But and I started to get results, but not monetary. So I learned how to create content my way, or be different from what is being presented. As I was going through the modules, I learned about engagement in terms of Facebook and the Facebook algorithm. So that helped me immensely. And then I also learned about interacting with people. Um, you know, there's certain etiquette online where when you're sending friend requests, don't just spam your links all over the place. First, get into a conversation. Get to understand the person, their pain points, their problems. So I learned a lot of this stuff along the way. It was in this particular in this program, there was a module that I came across, which I was introduced to your methods of organic marketing. And that is what really, really appealed to me. Because, firstly, I had limited resources, and the methods that you were teaching in that particular module were how to generate free traffic. So, this was like the, 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 the piece of the puzzle that I was missing, okay, for what I was looking for.
Yeah, so up until that point then, the two or so training programs that you looked through, were they all focused more around paid traffic methods? Is that right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. They to get ahead, okay, make no mistake, they tell you that it's free, but to get ahead and to get ahead quicker, you have to make an investment. So I chose to go the bicycle route as opposed to paying for the car and getting there quicker. I was quite prepared to pedal on my bicycle and figure it out because I didn't have the resources. Um, but also in that program, there was something that they did, which I have a great sense of respect for the fact that that's what got me going. Okay, they used to have competitions, and for those competitions, although later on, I discovered it's something that I shouldn't have been doing, but they had competitions, and I won prizes. Okay, I won $50 along the way. I won $100, and that money I used to invest in a program. So that's how I actually got started. Um, I accumulated all those prizes, and I then went on because I wasn't making sales. Okay, yes, I was making income, but it wasn't sales, and I was trying to get into a position where I was an online marketer that made sales.
Yeah, that must have still been a good position for you to be in, though, even during those early stages of your online marketing or your organic marketing journey. To see your name up on the leaderboard, to start making some prize money, people probably wouldn't have known who you were before that. So how did that feel then to see your name on the leaderboard for the first time?
David, it was absolutely incredible because, firstly, it reinforced my belief that it's possible. And it also gave me the mindset to not give up, because the stuff that you're doing, and literally, okay, I used to sit up for about 4 hours in the evening commenting on people's posts so that they would respond and comment on my post. Because the whole idea was the person with the most comments on a post would get $50. So it was a process of you had to make a sacrifice and there was a reward at the end. And when you got that reward, just being acknowledged and recognized for doing something above and beyond was awesome. And that's what gave me the initial momentum that I was looking for.
Yeah, that's really good as well. At least spending that time commenting on people's posts, it wasn't a total fool's errand. It was a means to an end, and you got that prize money at the
Absolutely.
end of it. You got your name up on the leaderboard, and as a beginner, just by having your name on that leaderboard, having that recognition among your peers, then that would have worked a little in your favor there to build some early credibility and authority within the industry, which I think for somebody brand new coming in, I don't think you can really ask for much more than that.
Absolutely not. Because what I would later discover again is that there are people who have been online for not years, I mean, not months, but years. And what I achieved in that short space of time, they still hadn't accomplished. So the whole experience was that there's more than one way to get the job done. How you decide to do it and what you're prepared to do to get the results is all dependent on you. How badly do you want it? Because if you're prepared to find a way, you'll make a way.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. That's some very good advice there. So you got your name on this leaderboard, and then at what point then did you think, right, well, I've done this now. Now I need to move on to the next step. Was there a particular situation that where you came to that conclusion?
Because I enjoyed content and that aspect of the online journey, I was following a gentleman by the name of Meerdrag. Okay, now he is known as the content wizard, and I really enjoyed what he was doing. I was in his group, and I wanted to learn more about his program. Okay, and at that particular point in time, he had a promotion on his signature program, and the promotion was basically $227 for 4 months. I took a gamble. Okay, because I wanted it so badly, I had $227. I think I had made like $250. I didn't have the rest of the money to pay. So I was backing myself and believing that I could do this. And I jumped into the program because he was having a promotion where he had been in the online space for a year and he had a discount on his program. So I jumped in. And the whole idea was I was going to leverage his program because I was trying to make more income. And what I discovered is you have to have a program in hand to make the income because you have to sell something or you have to offer a solution. Okay. And that solution is what people pay for. If you don't have a solution to offer people, then you have to go the paid traffic route. And I don't know where that would have ended up, but it is what it is. And I made that investment. I backed myself. And the most unthinkable thing happened was that after a week of being in the program, I made my first high ticket sale. Basically, I went through the program and I implemented as I was going. And one of the things that I'm really good at is taking imperfect action. I don't wait for it to be perfect and color it in and draw a line. It is what it is, and I just do it. I then fix it as I go along. If it works, I take that data and recycle and repeat, or else if it doesn't work, discard it and try something new. So that was where I was lucky in that in the first week, I made my first sale. Now that for me was incredible because going into the high ticket space and making my first sale within a week, there's been people who have been in high ticket for months, some for over a year, and they still hadn't made their first sale.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And there might be people listening to this episode today who sat there scratching their heads in disbelief because they still are still waiting for that first sale to come. Would you be able to briefly describe the steps that you took then during that first week when you were involved in that program to make that first sale?
David, one of the things that comes to light in a situation like that is that that sale wasn't just because of what I did in that 1 week. It was a culmination of the last 6 months of work where I was being consistent. People knew who I was. I had won competitions. I'd gained some credibility. I'd gained some authority. So in that week of jumping into the high ticket program, it was just a matter of time, or it was inevitable that a result would come. So I basically produced a lead gen post, which is a two-step post, and people reached out from that lead gen post because I was offering a solution. And from that, I qualified one particular person. That person was ready. The program actually teaches you about knowing your perfect customer, where they are in their journey, what their pain points are. And I was able to help that person with a solution, and the solution happened to be the program I was in. So even though it seems like it was just a week in the program, it was actually a culmination of being consistent for the last 6 months that kind of produced the source, if you want to call it, that would create the sale.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've been doing a lot of work for those first 6 months of the year, as we mentioned earlier. You're getting a few results here and there. You were uh, getting some leaderboard prizes and that type of thing. But it sounds like that when you joined that program and you went through the steps in that program, that was the trigger to get that person who had probably been following you for a little while to put their hands up and reach out for your help. Now, you mentioned a two-step post there just now. Could you just give our listeners a little bit more insight into what that is?
Now, with the two-step post, basically what you actually do is you find a specific pain point or problem that you've had and you've solved in your business. And you then create a training or a document outlining the solution to that particular pain point or problem. Now, with the program that I was in, there is a training, which is a free training that you can give away, that basically would help people who have a problem with content. And all I did with that two-step post was I invited people to increase the revenue in their business by way of creating content that drew their ideal customer to them, reaching out for their solution. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but all that it said was it was a two-step post that basically said, would you be interested in learning how to generate an extra 3 to 5K in your business per month? Now, for anyone who is coming into the online space, that's that's something that's enticing. I'd like to know, or want to learn about that, and they reach out and ask you, yes, I'd like to learn about it. You then get them into a process which is taught in the training, and when you go through that process, you qualify them to see whether they are serious enough to pursue it, or whether they are just looking for the next free training, which I had been down that road, so I knew exactly how it works. And when you find the right person, help them solve their problem, that pain point, show them how to do it, and if they're ready to take it further, then you can take it further and tell them more about the program that you're in.
That's a really good explanation, actually. I think you've made that quite simple. If anybody was wondering what the two-step post was, but the first step, it is really simple because you're just asking a single question in the post. So it's formatted in that large text so it stands out in the newsfeed. You're asking something that people would like. They'll find it very intriguing, and then that'll trigger them to reach out to you for some more information. So I think that's a really good way of doing things, because you do see a lot of people producing content on social media, but they're not inviting people to reach out to them. They're not making them any offers. I mean, I think that's one of the big mistakes that people make when they are going down the organic social media route. But what other common mistakes do you see people making with their own content? Now you've gone through this process with this other program.
One of the things that I've learned is that you need to keep your content unique. Okay, when you go on the news feed, there's so many people talking about so many things, but it's all like noise, if you want to call it that. Because as much as people are talking about so many things, it's all the same. Who wants to make 10K? Who wants to do this? This program, that pro. But there's a way that you can be different. Just come out and be yourself. Okay, share your experiences, and you can follow a formula in terms of you can post lifestyle posts, you can do value posts, you can do results posts, but do it your own way. Find your own unique angle, because ideally, when people are on the news feed and they see all this stuff, if you see stuff, you just keep on scrolling. But if you find a post that has a photograph of somebody standing on their head, you want to see, okay, what is going on over here? And if you have a unique angle with your content in terms of the way that you're presenting it, people are going to, they want to go and read what you're talking about. And that's how you start drawing them in. You call out your ideal customer, and you draw a small tribe towards you, people that resonate with your message. And those are the people that you try to help, because you can't serve everyone. There's 2.3 billion people on Facebook. There's no way that in your day you'll be able to connect with all of those people. But there are one or two people that you can help. And it's your job to find those people by way of being your unique self. Because one of the things I've learned is that the person you can help the most is the person in the mirror. So if you look in the mirror, that is the type of person you're looking for. Not in terms of what you look like, but in terms of the characteristics you have. You might be a dad, a professional dad. You might have kids who are in university or in school. Those kind of situations present unique problems that you can call out and you can address. You might be a professional mom who has a hairdressing salon, or whatever the case may be. That is the type of person that you can help, because when you speak to that person, the pains and the solutions that you've had, more than likely they having those pains, and those solutions will work for them as well. So if you are a high ticket organic marketer, you will not be able to address the problems experienced by somebody who is involved in Bitcoin or Forex or, multi-level marketing or whatever it is. But if the person is a high ticket affiliate marketer who is a professional dad like myself, who has kids, who probably, enjoys watching rugby or football, these are things that we can connect on a meta level, if you want to call it that. So when they start presenting their problems, more than likely the solutions are going to be something that I've implemented myself, because that person is more than likely 2 steps further back to where I am, and it's my job to reach back and pull them forward by my experience.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that anymore. It's really interesting there what you mentioned there about the avatar, because that seems to be a particular pain point for a lot of marketers who spend a lot of time stressing out how to find out who their ideal avatar is. And it's crazy the sort of things that they do, where they start inventing these characters and giving them names and what they wear and their hobbies and things like that, when really your ideal avatar is you, but at a previous point in your life. So, for example, for me, it could be me when I had to go back to a day job in 2014, and I felt trapped in the job. I was missing my previous life of working from home and spending time with the family, and I was looking for a way out. So that is my ideal avatar. It's just me 7 years ago, and it doesn't take any real effort to think that up. But when you have that clear avatar in your mind, a previous version of you, then the problems that you're talking about for that avatar are real, because they're the problems that you had, and the solutions and the content that you create around that are going to be far more authentic, because it's coming from the heart. It's true life experiences, and I don't think you can really get any better than that, regardless of how good a creative writer you might be to come up in inventing all of these solutions to these fictional problems that you've thought of. So going back to your ideal avatar there, you're talking about creating content to call them out. But where are you finding these ideal avatars, these ideal customers in the first place? Because if you're going down the Facebook route, then you're having to, add these people as friends so that they can then see your content in the news feed. So what's the process that you go through for that?
Ideally, what you want to do is you join Facebook groups, because what you will find is that people with similar problems hang out in similar groups. So if you are a high ticket affiliate marketer doing organic Facebook marketing, you'll go onto groups and you'll search organic marketing. And then it'll bring up a whole list of groups that deal with organic marketing. Okay. Now, some of the groups are going to be paid groups and some of them are going to be free groups. In your free groups, you can go into those free groups and you can start looking for people who meet your ideal avatar. But the other aspect is that one of the things that you're going to have to realize at some point in your journey, and this is the unfortunate reality that a lot of people don't like to face in the beginning, you have to make an investment. And the investment is twofold. Firstly, you need to gain the education to be able to get to the next level. So when you make that investment, I can assure you that's not going to be the last investment you make, because it's going to solve a specific problem. And then once you've solved that problem, you're going to be presented with another problem. Unfortunately, that is the way that life in general works. Because, and I can give you a good example, when you go out and you buy yourself a car, you've solved your problem of transport. But now you have another problem that you have to buy petrol, you know, or fuel. So that's kind of how it works. So once you get into these free groups and these paid groups, you then start looking for your ideal avatar and you start adding them as friends. In the beginning, it's going to be difficult because you're doing cold outreach. Okay. So your cold outreach is you basically send them a message. Hi, I saw we in the same group. I'd like to connect. I'm building up my friends list. I saw you have some good stuff happening on your profile and I'd like to engage. So that's how it's going to start. Now, in these paid groups, you already know that to get in the group, you have to pay. So everybody in that group is a buyer. Okay. You just have to find the people in that group that you can help with either your program or with another program that you have access to. Because let's also remember that in the paid group, you can't sell the people the program of the group because they're already in the group. So you have to have another solution, which means that you're going to have to be in another paid group. So that's where this whole investment comes in. And once you find the person you can help, you do the cold outreach, and then you start creating your content that addresses the pain points of your ideal avatar. Because the goal is to get your outbound leads to become inbound leads. When they start reaching out to you, you can then get closer to a sales process and closer to the sale, because you have to first build up that know, like, and trust factor. Just friend requesting people and saying to them, I have the solution for your problem, is basically like, if you take a magnet, there's a side of a magnet that attracts and there's a side that repels. So that outreach where you're just sending your links and telling people they have a problem, you're basically repelling people, and you're going to end up burnt out with no sales, and you're probably going to quit this thing because it doesn't work for you. So you have to become that person that has solutions, but you only give the solution to the person who asks you for the solution. And the way you get them to ask is by the content that you're producing, know, like, and trust being built, giving value, and getting people to see you as an authority that can help them.
Yeah, that's some really good advice there. Do you have any tips that you could share on how you can build up that know, like, and trust factor? Because if you're sending out messages to people in Messenger to try to build a relationship a little bit, first of all, if you ask people how are they doing in their business, then their immediate reaction is they're going to tell you that they're doing really well, even if they're completely struggling and haven't made their first sale yet. So how would you perhaps try to overcome that barrier to build up a bit more know, like, and trust, so that when they see your content come up in their newsfeed, that they then have the confidence in you to reach out to you and become that inbound lead that you talked about just now?
David, there's a lot of small things that you have to do, which I've learned along the way. And one of the things that I'll share with you is that when you go onto your news feed, you'll find people are posting. Just go onto the person's post, see what they're talking about, and give a well thought out comment, not a happy Monday, have a great day. That, it doesn't go down well with Facebook, and it doesn't go down well with somebody. If you spend 30 to 45 minutes creating a post, you want to elicit some response. You want to get people's opinion, or you want to get people's agreement, but a strong, heartfelt agreement. So what you do is you go onto their post and you read the post firstly. Don't just read the headline and then comment. Read the post, because that person has taken a lot of time and effort to create that post. So appreciate what they've done and give a heartfelt comment. Add some value in your comment and reinforce what they're saying. Or even if you disagree and give a reason, so that it creates that repertoire, it creates that opportunity to engage. And then you can then go into your messenger and say to them, I saw your post on XYZ. It was really a good post. I agree with you on for these reasons, X, Y, and Z. So now you've done two things. You've created 2 points of contact. You've commented on the post, so they will eventually see the comment and they'll respond, or even if they don't respond, you've taken the time to go into Messenger, and you've now reiterated that you've seen their post and you have read the post. So you've built up some sort of confidence that you know what they were talking about, and you're starting to become a closer friend as opposed to just somebody on their friends list. So that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, that's some excellent advice there. It sounds like you go in the extra mile. You're doing something that the vast majority of online marketers aren't going to do, because a lot of them, you're lucky to get a happy Monday comment, as you mentioned there, which is terrible, especially when it's a Wednesday, right? But when it's if you're going that extra mile and you're actually writing a proper response to them, and then you're actually contacting them as well, then you're really going to stand out.
When you're contacting them, you're not doing anything apart from adding value, and you're just planting a seed. So that now that you've also done that, there's two reasons for doing that. Firstly, you are creating that know, like, and trust. But secondly, the algorithm now sees that you guys are interacting, because if that person responds in Messenger, okay, and they say thank you, I really appreciate you taking the time, the algorithm now sees you guys as friends because there's an interaction between you. So the next thing that's going to happen is when you create a post, and whatever you are addressing, or whoever you're calling out, that post is going to appear in that prospect's newsfeed.
You could even write a post specifically for them, because if you've been having a back and forth conversation in the messenger and they might have shared some specific difficulties that they're having, then you could write a post then which addresses that and alludes to the fact that you have a solution. And then if that post appears in their newsfeed, they're going to read that and think, wow, this was written specifically for me. And they're going to be more inclined to reach out to you for more information. Have you ever used such dark arts yourself?
Well, as you can probably guess, the answer is yes, because what you will find is that good content comes from the heart, and when you have those heartfelt conversations, in there's a golden nugget which you can use to address a pain point. And be sure that if somebody has that problem, there's another person that has the same problem. And if you have the solution, why would you want to keep it to yourself? You want to share that solution with as many people as possible. And if you get paid along the way, well, bonus.
Yeah, exactly. I think we kind of coming to the end now. We've been talking for over 45 minutes. It's absolutely flown. I could actually talk to you for hours and hours, but just to try to keep this episode manageable, I think we should start to think about bringing this to an end now. But if anybody listening wants to go down the organic social media marketing route, what would be the best advice that you could give them so that they can see a level of success, consistent success, and not just be another statistic of somebody who doesn't make any sales and just burns out completely? Because that happens a lot from what I've seen over the past few years.
David, I'm going to share something personal with you. And this is when I came into the online space, I started following a particular person, and it just happened that he is a motivational speaker. He has nothing to do with internet marketing, okay? But his story really resonated with me. And it's a gentleman called Inky Johnson, relatively unknown in terms of what he has achieved in his journey. And the one thing that I learned from him was something called process over product, which is believe in the process. Don't focus on the product. Believe in the process, and the product will come. So I applied that in my journey. And all I did was remained consistent, found the things that worked, and did them repeatedly. And when you do that, you follow a plan and you continue to do it consistently. The only thing that I can say is the results are inevitable. So it might not be after the first month, it might not be after the second month. You need to ask yourself, are you doing it? Are you doing it consistently? Are you doing it well? And if you can answer yes to all those questions, the results are inevitable. But if you go and you're doing it one day this, leave 3 days, then you do another post, leave another 4 days, what you're doing in the mind of your clients or your prospect is you're not being consistent, you're not showing up, they're not seeing you as an authority, so you're not going to get that end result that you're looking for. If you're doing it consistently, people start to see you as somebody who's been around, you know what you're talking about, you deliver the goods, and they can trust you, so they're going to reach out. And after you've done it for a number of times, I think Gary Player said it best: the more I practice, the luckier I get. So, you start having those conversations with people, you start learning what works, what doesn't work. And eventually, it's inevitable that you will make your first sale. Once you make your first sale, you leverage those results and you repeat the process.
Yeah, that's some excellent advice there. What would you say your plans are now over the next 12 months?
David, ideally, I want to become consistent with my sales. My goal has always been to get to 5K a month. So that is what I'm working towards. Um, as an affiliate marketer, um, at some point I will probably start creating my own like workshops, mini trainings or courses. Uh, but ideally, the 5K mark, because I have a 9 to 5 job and affiliate marketing, I do, you know, 9 to 5 pays the rent, 6 to 10 builds the empire. So that's kind of where my journey is kind of looking like at the moment.
Excellent. Yeah, so you've got plenty to aim for over the next 12 months for sure then. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, find out more about you, where's the best place for them to do that?
My main hangout is Facebook, um, Gareth Knipe, and my profile should come up. I also have my own Facebook group. So the group that I'm in charge of is called the Affiliate Focus, where we focus on all things to do with affiliate marketing. So if you're an affiliate with a program, if you're a course creator, or if you're a coach, anything to do with affiliate marketing, that's what we speak about in my group. I've also recently just started up on TikTok. I managed to cross the 1,000 followers on TikTok, the proverbial 1,000. So basically, what that allows me to do is I can now put a link in my bio as and it's not a business account, it's a personal account. So it allows me to put a link in my bio. So I create content on TikTok, and my main hangout is Facebook and my Facebook group.
Okay, great. So what I'll do as well is put links to all of those resources in the show notes as well. So if anybody wants to find you, then they'll be able to do that easily. I think we'll end things there. Thank you so much for joining me on the episode today. I knew that you'd have lots to share with regards to content creation and lead generation and all of that good stuff. And to be honest, you haven't disappointed. It's been really good. So thank you very much for coming on the show today, Gareth. And I look forward to following your journey over the next 12 months.
David, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to join you. because you've always been somebody who's inspired me. So to be in the same room as you, I can't believe that if you told me this 12 months ago, I would have thought it's impossible. But thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate that.
No, my pleasure, and it just goes to show how much progress you've made over these past few months. And this is just going to be the beginning for you. And I wish you all the best for the future. Please visit internetmarketingreveal.com and davidwalker.net for more free content. If you need a domain name for your business, visit domainsreveal.com, where you'll find more than 1,000 premium domains. And finally, please rate and review this podcast. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.